Hello. So you decided to play Warrior. Probably one of the manliest tanks in this game, due to the axe and the abilities that it has. To put it short, if you want to go berserk and have a pretty easy rotation, I think this would be a good class for you. It can be a little harsh sometimes, but out of the four tanks, I think this is one of the more simple ones. Remember, simple doesn't mean it's bad, sometimes it can mean good. Also, if you guys want to see me live, check me out on Twitch at Jester3. I'll be streaming it at every PM. Alright, first we're going to start out with your tank stance. Your tank stance is going to be Defiance. Always activate this pre-pull, and if you're going to be main tanking. I'll be covering the roll actions real quick. Arm's length, pretty much gives you an anti-knockback. Jerk, you're going to be popping this if you need to give your enmity to a partner tank. Or if you want to be mean, give it to your healer or DPS. Provoke, this is going to put you on top of the enemy list. Remember, don't use this on the pull. You're going to be using something else on the pull. You're going to need to provoke in case you ever do lose aggro. And in case you res, that would be a good time to use provoke. Interject, they're going to occasionally, you're going to be interrupting bosses' moves. Reprisal, very good skill. You're going to be popping this during raid rides or any kind of damage that's going to be hurting you and your whole party. Doesn't have to be AoE too. Sometimes you want to use it if it's going to be a single target on you and you don't have that much mitigation up. Now we're going to talk about the special skills that keeps the warrior alive, especially mitigation. And for warrior, we'll be gaining more health. First, we're going to start with Nascent Flash. Nascent Flash lets you recover HP according to your damage dealt. I recommend doing this during your big hitting moves. I'll be covering that later. Equilibrium pretty much gives you a heal if you ever need it. Try to help the healer out, especially after you get hit by a tank buster. Make their lives a little easier. Vengeance reduces damage taken by 30%. You're going to pop this for tank busters. Rampart, this is also a roll skill. All tanks share. 20% damage reduction. Pop this for tank busters as well. Thrill of Battle, which also increases your max HP and restores the amounts you increased it by. Route Intuition reduces damage taken by 20%. Nether usage before a tank buster. If these are off cooldown, remember a rule of thumb as for tanking, you don't want to stack too much. You're going to be wanting to cycle every single tank cooldown for each tank buster. And then Shake It Off. This one's a little unique to Warrior. It creates a barrier around you and everyone else in case there's going to be a big raid fight coming. Also, if you pop it while having Throw to Battle, Vengeance, and Raw Intuition, to a total of 21%. Forgot to mention another class skill, roll skill, would be Low Blow, and be Stun the target. Some targets can't be, bosses can't be stunned, some can, but you're going to be popping this whenever you need to stun even like mobs. Help the healer out so you get hit less. Your invulnerability, Home Gang. So this doesn't let you go below 1 health for 8 seconds. And it chains the enemy to the ground. They can't really move that much either. You're gonna be popping this if you think you're going to die. Now I'll be talking about your basic combos. Before you pull a group or boss, you're going to be using Tomahawk first from range, and then while you're going in. You can also use Tomahawk if you can't be in melee range. Good filler. We're going to start with an AoE combo first. Overpower. It hits in the cone in front of you. Keep in mind there's going to be a cone. And then it combos into Mithril Tempest. Also extends your Storm's Eye. I'll be teaching you guys that skill in a second. You're always going to be wanting to do an Overpower, Sorrowful Tempest for more potency. Now, your basic combos in a single target fight. First, we're going to be covering Heavy Swing, Maim, gives you Beast Gauge, which is going to be on your top right. We'll be covering this in a second as well. And then Storm's Eye. Storm's Eye gives you damage increase, so you're going to be wanting to keep this skill up at all times. So always keep watching your Storm's Eye is about to drop, because the more damage, the better. Everyone loves more damage. Now the other combo, you do Heavy Swing into Maim. Now this time you can do Storm's Path. Storm's Path gives you more Beast Gauge, along with it restoring your HP. Same potency as Storm's Eye, but you're going to be doing Storm's Path most of the time because you're going to want that Beast Gauge. Now you're probably wondering, what is the Beast Gauge? So at the top right, this is the Beast Gauge right here. This is the core mechanic of this class. There are specific skills that use up the Beast Gauge. First we'll do Decimate. This is going to be your AoE move. This will cost 50 Beast Gauge. You're going to be using this for 3+ enemies. Upheaval, you're going to be doing this off global cooldown. Has a 30-second cooldown. You're going to be wanting to cast this when you can. Onslaught, you're going to be wanting to use this during your opener, and if you're not in melee range, then you want to get back in. Now, the bread and butter of single target warrior is Felcleave. I love that move, and you're going to be using this a lot, especially under a skill called Inner Release. Inner Release guarantees you critical hits, and it lets you do Felcleave or Decimate any of these moves that I just mentioned for free. And you can do as much Felcleaves while you have your Inner Release up. During Inner Release, you're only going to be able to do 5 Felcleaves, unfortunately. Infuriate gives you 50 Beast Gauge. You're going to be wanting to do this off global cooldown. Pretty much going to give you more damage. And it also gives you a buff called Nascent Chaos. Nascent Chaos changes your Decimate and Felcleave into a different move. First, we'll go over Chaotic Cyclone, which attacks all enemies. As you can see, the animation is a little bit different. And then Infuriate with Felcleave turns into Inner Chaos, and your potency will be turned into 920 instead of 590. Look like that. So basically, you're going to be wanting to pop Infuriate. If it's a single target fight, you're going to do Felcleave. If it's 3+ enemies, you're going to do Decimate. I'm going to show you guys how a single target opener will look like. As you can see, the opener is not too bad, and I think a few minutes of practice, I think you guys can get it down. Pretty much, you want to prioritize keeping your Storm's Eye up, and do Upheaval on cooldown, Inner Release on cooldown, and then you're going to be wanting to do Felcleave most of the time. You want to do Storm's Path, get as much beast gauge as possible, and use Infuriate into your inner chaos. Hope you guys enjoyed my basic warrior guide, breaking down each skill to simplify it as much as I can. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.